Torture, sexual assault, death threats, none of this has silenced investigative journalist Lydia Cacho, my next guest tonight. Cacho has courageously reported on corruption, drug violence, and sex trafficking in her home country of Mexico for several decades, sometimes even exposing government officials and high-powered business people. Fearing for her life, she was forced to flee Mexico last summer, but has now returned to continue her work in her country. I spoke with her earlier. Well, thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you.
I want to say it's an honor meeting you. Many people admire you for your bravery, for your fearless work covering a topic in Mexico that has gotten you in trouble, that has put you in danger. You've been abducted, you've been abused, you've been tortured, yet you go back and continue to do your work. So where do you find this courage?
Well, I suppose it has a lot to do with believing what journalism is all about. And I believe my work has helped a lot of people. And in fact, has transformed a lot of people and laws in Mexico. So, you know, if you're a journalist, sometimes you take risks. I have lost 7 friends in the last couple of years, assassinated in Mexico. Journalists that were doing a good job investigating the mafias, and most of the aggressions and the killing of journalists have a lot to do with orders that come from the military or from the government. It's not true that it's only the mafias who are attacking journalists.
So the government, you're saying, in Mexico is at least just as responsible for the targeting of journalists?
Yeah. Yes, the organization Article 19, that is based in London, did an amazing investigation in the last couple of years, and they demonstrated that most of the biggest attacks and abductions and illegal incarcerations were ordered by political parties or by the military or the police, who are really uncomfortable with journalists.
But so the question is, if you live in a country where not only the criminal gangs are targeting journalists, but according to you, even the authorities, where do you turn when you feel vulnerable, when you feel targeted and threatened? Who do you talk to?
What we do is we go to the courts anyway, because Mexico has been going through a huge change trying to transform the legal system. And the criminal justice system has been changing little by little, but impunity is amazing. It's like 98% of all cases, or of all criminal cases, are not prosecuted in Mexico.
So why do you keep doing what you're doing? Where does the hope that things will change come from? I mean, are you just an incurable optimist that no matter what evidence is presented before you, you will continue the battle?
No, I think it's not only me, of course. Everybody else is. You know, human rights activists and journalists are working to rebuild the country and the criminal justice system.
At great personal risk, I want to show you another number here. This is the Committee to Protect Journalists, and it comes out with its estimates of journalist killings and deaths per country. 71 journalists killed in Mexico since 1992, but that is a very conservative estimate, yes?
Absolutely, yes, because what the CPJ is saying is that there are only journalists, but Article 19 is also counting not only the assassinations, but also aggressions and sexual, the rape of some journalists and death threats, and it comes to 207.
207, that's in what time frame are we talking about here?
Last year.
Just last year.
Just last year.
So this figure we're seeing from the CPJ may be just, first of all, it's just the deaths, but also it may be it may be a lower estimate than the reality, you think?
Absolutely.
So I was reading some of the things that happened to you, some terrible things that would have discouraged many others, I think. And there was recounted one incident in 2005 where you say you were abducted and tortured. You were abducted by the police.
Yes.
What was that about?
Well, I published a book called Demons of Eden that will become a movie soon, and where I investigated a network of child pornography, entrepreneurs that were doing child pornography in Cancun. They had sex with almost 200 kids from 4 years to 13 years old, and they were doing sex tourism because they own a hotel in Cancun. So I exposed these guys with all their names, and also politicians were involved, including 5 governors, and I printed all the names of everyone. So one of the governors was agree with Kamel Asif, one of the other mobsters, to get me in jail. And what they wanted was to torture me.
And what does this say? Just
La Jornada, it says they demand the resignation of the governor of Puebla because they were planning my incarceration, my rape, and my torture in order for me to say that the contents of my books were a lie.
Right.
But right now, 8 years later, the main leader of that child pornography network has been sentenced to 113 years in Mexico.
And that's a huge victory for you and your profession as well. And we talk about the problem, but I guess one of the questions is also, what is a possible solution?
There's one thing that is really important for us in Mexico, that in 2006, the new criminal justice system transformation was approved. And now it has to be implemented in 2 years. And when it changes, open trials and 2 different judges there with the media in front of them and with the possibility to have more transparency in the system will actually improve things. And some of the states in Mexico have already implemented this criminal justice system, and it's changing little by little. I mean, it's not all bad. Right. But then on the other hand, what we have to do is truly change cultural values regarding impunity and corruption, which is, I mean, it's a huge task.
I mean, are you always living in fear, or do you sometimes, are you always able to relax?
Oh, yes, I relax. I go scuba diving. I walk with my dogs, and I have a life. I won't let them take that away from me. It's just absurd if you just... if I lived like that, I would have left Mexico, but I'm not willing to. So, yes, well, I don't know. I learned not to live in fear. Well, it's a decision. You make a choice every day not to live in fear. So today when I wake up, it's like today I'm not going to be, I live in fear. So I'm going to enjoy life and just go for it.
Thank you very much, Lydia Cacho. It's a great pleasure meeting you and talking to you today.
Thank you so much.